Imagine this. Nearly half of all Americans report feeling stressed every single day, and anxiety disorders remain the most common mental health challenge in the country. We are living in a time where our nervous systems are constantly overstimulated, endless notifications demanding work schedules, financial pressures, and the quiet weight of uncertainty. And yet, in the middle of this noise, millions of people are finding calm in one of the most unexpected places: ASMR videos. Now, if you've ever wondered why the gentle sound of whispering, tapping, or crinkling paper can melt stress away, you're not alone. At first glance, it seems almost silly, but neuroscience tells us something profound is happening. ASMR, short for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, activates regions in the brain associated with relaxation, reward, and emotional regulation. What looks like just YouTube tingles is actually a doorway into stress relief that is grounded in biology. This matters, because when stress becomes chronic, it doesn't just erode our peace of mind, it affects our memory, our immune system, our sleep, and even the quality of our relationships. But here's the encouraging truth: your brain and body already hold the tools to reset, and practices like ASMR are helping millions tap into them. In this talk, we're going to break down the science of calm, why ASMR works, what's happening in your nervous system when it does, and how you can use it along with principles championed by leaders like Tony Robbins and Les Brown to reclaim focus, reduce anxiety, and build a calmer, stronger version of yourself. The neuroscience of tingles. ASMR activates brain regions linked to calm and pleasure, particularly the medial prefrontal cortex and nucleus accumbens. Why this matters: understanding the biology behind ASMR makes it more than a trend. It's a legitimate nervous system reset. Stress, cortisol, and the modern American nervous system. Chronic stress elevates cortisol and dysregulates sleep, focus, and emotional control. ASMR offers a micro-intervention that lowers physiological arousal in minutes. The power of parasympathetic activation. ASMR nudges the body into parasympathetic dominance, the rest and digest state. Practical tool: pairing ASMR with breathwork or evening rituals amplifies this effect. Emotional safety and the role of human connection. Many ASMR experiences mimic caregiving cues: whispering, gentle touch, rhythmic sounds, which trigger feelings of safety and oxytocin release. Why it matters: a brain that feels safe learns, heals, and performs better. CTA here. If this resonates with you so far, consider subscribing. This channel is designed to give you tools like this every week. Habits, neuroplasticity, and training calm. Repeated use of ASMR and similar tools can rewire the stress response over time. Neuroscience shows that calm is a skill you can train, just like focus or strength. From relief to resilience. Lessons from Tony Robbins and Les Brown. Stress relief is not just about calming down, it's about building capacity. Leaders like Robbins and Brown remind us that energy, purpose, and emotional mastery transform short-term relief into long-term resilience. Ranasang kam saltinga maken hending head of brani. Dad and si kam whites brown. Pretty shanatfornar rizwail perbil fret cum. Part 1. The neuroscience of tingles for sfreshenar riza makenar tombornima perbil. Part 1. The neuroscience of tingles for sfreshenar riza makenar tombornima perbil fret cums of perbils. Part 1. Purplas king ad sariandus how far? P want to keep building resilience with us. Make sure you hit like so this message reaches more people who need it. Part 1. The neuroscience of tingles for sfreshenar riz makenar tom port nunja like an enderdy for more peoples for sfreshen. Dad and donkid at court would hub import me peoples for sfreshen, for med riz wide to nethanar riz wet. Perch the persubaloving is the moles of the lovinus persubtwan I verdumi segment they shingevers. I wummy weed pishin like blekan. Have you ever noticed that a simple sound, the quiet tapping of a pencil, the gentle rustle of paper, or someone speaking in a soft, steady voice, can make your entire body feel like it's exhaling? That warm, tingling sensation that starts at the scalp and flows down the neck and spine is what researchers call Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, or ASMR. While it may look like just a quirky YouTube trend, neuroscience has begun to reveal that ASMR is a powerful brain-based phenomenon with very real implications for stress and anxiety relief. Here's what the research shows. In a study from the University of Sheffield, people who experience ASMR reported significant decreases in heart rate while watching ASMR videos, reductions comparable to those seen in clinical stress reduction techniques like mindfulness meditation. Brain imaging studies, including work published in BioImpacts, suggest that ASMR activates the medial prefrontal cortex, a region of the brain linked to self-awareness, emotion regulation, and social bonding. It also appears to engage the nucleus accumbens, a key part of the brain's reward circuitry. In simple terms, ASMR doesn't just make you feel calm, it engages the same pathways that reinforce pleasure, safety, and connection. Think of it like this. Your nervous system is constantly scanning for cues. When it detects signals of threat, your body mobilizes stress hormones, priming you for fight or flight. But when it receives cues of safety, like the soothing tone of a caregiver's voice, your brain releases dopamine and oxytocin, neurochemicals that promote calm, trust, and relaxation. ASMR mimics those cues. Whispering, rhythmic tapping, or the sound of steady brushing are not random. They mirror the kinds of stimuli associated with nurturing and care. Now, why does this matter for you? Because if your brain can be tricked into shifting out of stress mode by something as accessible as a video or audio track, then you already have a tool for regulating your nervous system without needing medication or elaborate routines. One practical way to apply this is what I call a tingle break. The next time you feel overwhelmed, set aside 5 minutes, put on headphones, and play an ASMR track that resonates with you. The key is consistency. The more often your brain experiences this rapid downshift, the more it learns to access calm on demand. Tony Robbins often says, "Where focus goes, energy flows." When you direct your focus toward these calming sensory experiences, you're not just distracting yourself from stress, you're literally rewiring your brain's relationship with it. And as Les Brown would remind us, you have greatness within you. That greatness isn't found in constant overdrive, it's unlocked when your nervous system is balanced, your mind is clear, and your body feels safe enough to perform at its best. Part 2. Stress, cortisol, and the modern American nervous system. Let's talk about stress. Not in the abstract sense, but in the very real, biological reality of how it shapes your body and mind every single day. In America, stress is no longer an occasional spike. For many, it has become the baseline. Surveys show that more than 70% of adults regularly report physical and psychological symptoms of stress, from headaches and fatigue to irritability and sleepless nights. This isn't just about feeling tense. Chronic stress literally reshapes your physiology. Here's what's happening in your brain when stress builds up. Your hypothalamus signals your adrenal glands to release cortisol, the primary stress hormone. In the short term, cortisol is useful. It sharpens attention, mobilizes energy, and helps you respond to challenges. But when cortisol stays elevated, as it does in a culture of constant deadlines, financial worry, and information overload, it becomes toxic. Research from Yale and Stanford shows that chronically high cortisol impairs the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning, and disrupts the prefrontal cortex, which is essential for decision-making and emotional regulation. That's why stress feels like brain fog, poor sleep, impulsive reactions, and even physical burnout. Your body is literally stuck in on mode, unable to reset. This is where ASMR comes in, as a surprisingly effective micro-intervention. In that same University of Sheffield study I mentioned earlier, participants who experienced ASMR showed not only a drop in heart rate, but also a measurable shift toward parasympathetic activation, the biological opposite of the stress response. In everyday terms, 5 minutes of listening to soothing whispers or tapping sounds can help lower cortisol levels and give your nervous system a mini reset. Think of it as stress hygiene. Just as you brush your teeth to prevent cavities, you can use short ASMR sessions to prevent the buildup of chronic cortisol. A simple protocol. When you notice tension mounting, shoulders tight, jaw clenched, thoughts racing, pause and give yourself 3 to 5 minutes of ASMR through quality headphones. Pair it with slow nasal breathing. This tells your body, "We're safe, we can downshift now." Tony Robbins often emphasizes that energy is the most valuable resource. You cannot lead, create, or love from a depleted nervous system. Les Brown reminds us, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. The first step toward greatness may simply be reclaiming your calm. And if this insight is helping you so far, consider subscribing. Each week we bring you science-based tools like this, so you can keep strengthening your mind and body, and we'd love for you to be part of this growing community. Part 3. The power of parasympathetic activation. One of the most overlooked truths about stress is that relief isn't just a mental concept, it's a physiological state. Your body has two main modes: sympathetic activation, often called fight or flight, and parasympathetic activation, known as rest and digest. The balance between these two determines whether you feel tense and wired, or calm and restored. Here's what the research shows. When you're stuck in sympathetic overdrive, your heart rate stays elevated, digestion slows, and your muscles remain primed for action. Over time, this constant arousal wears you down. But when your parasympathetic nervous system engages, often through cues of safety and calm, your heart rate variability increases, blood pressure decreases, and your body begins to repair itself. This is not philosophy, it's hardwired biology. ASMR is emerging as a surprisingly reliable trigger for parasympathetic dominance. A 2018 study published in PLOS One found that ASMR experiences produced measurable drops in both heart rate and skin conductance, classic markers of the body shifting into a calmer state. In simple terms, ASMR tells your nervous system, you can stand down now. Think of it like a seesaw. On one end, stress pulls you up into sympathetic overdrive. On the other, ASMR provides just enough weight to tilt the balance back toward rest. And the best part? You don't need hours of meditation or expensive retreats to achieve this shift. Just a few minutes of intentional sensory immersion can be enough to bring your physiology back into alignment. Here's a simple tool you can try tonight. Before bed, put on a pair of headphones and play a 10-minute ASMR session. Whispering, tapping, or nature-inspired sounds work well. Pair it with slow diaphragmatic breathing. Inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 6 counts. This combination creates what neuroscientists call parasympathetic stacking. You're giving your body multiple signals of safety at once, making it nearly impossible to stay in stress mode. Tony Robbins has a line that captures this perfectly. The quality of your life is the quality of your emotions, and the quality of your emotions is deeply tied to the state of your nervous system. Les Brown often says, ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. Using ASMR as a tool is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's choosing to give your brain and body the reset they're biologically craving. The takeaway here is simple. Calm is not something you wait to feel, it's a state you can deliberately create. And the parasympathetic nervous system is the doorway. Part 4. Emotional safety and the role of human connection. One of the most fascinating aspects of ASMR isn't just the tingles or relaxation, it's the profound sense of comfort it creates. Many people describe ASMR as feeling cared for, nurtured, or even looked after. Why is that? Because at its core, ASMR mimics the very cues of human connection that signal safety to your nervous system. Here's what the research shows. Studies in affective neuroscience reveal that the human brain is exquisitely sensitive to social and sensory signals that suggest caregiving. A gentle voice, rhythmic touch, or steady gaze can activate oxytocin pathways, the same chemical system that strengthens bonds between parent and child, or between partners in moments of trust. Oxytocin isn't just the love hormone, it's a biological signal that tells the body, you are safe now. ASMR leverages this system, whispering into a microphone, simulating personal attention, or creating rhythmic, predictable sounds all echo the cues we receive in moments of tenderness and care. That's why so many people turn to ASMR before sleep. It tricks the nervous system into feeling held, even when you're alone in your room. Think of it like this. Your brain is constantly scanning for threat or safety. If it detects threat, stress hormones surge. If it detects safety, relaxation flows in. ASMR provides a stream of micro-cues of safety, nudging your system toward trust and rest. And here's where it gets empowering. When you consciously build practices that make you feel safe, you expand your capacity to handle life's challenges. Safety is not the absence of difficulty, it's the foundation that allows you to rise to it. Tony Robbins often says, the strongest force in the human personality is the need to remain consistent with how we define ourselves. When you define yourself as someone who prioritizes calm and care, you begin to act in alignment with that identity. Les Brown puts it another way. Too many of us are not living our dreams because we are living our fears. Emotional safety, whether through ASMR, relationships, or mindfulness, is what allows you to step out of fear and into growth. Here's a practical tool. Create an emotional safety ritual. For 5 minutes each evening, combine an ASMR track with a grounding activity, such as wrapping yourself in a blanket, dimming the lights, or placing one hand on your chest as you breathe slowly. This simple pairing tells your nervous system, I am safe, I am supported, I can let go. And if this resonates with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. We dive into tools like this every week, grounded in neuroscience and psychology, so you can keep building a calmer, stronger version of yourself. Part 5. Habits, Neuroplasticity, and Training Calm. Here's something powerful to consider. Calm isn't just a state you fall into by chance, it's a skill you can train. Neuroscience has a word for this, neuroplasticity. Simply put, your brain is constantly rewiring itself based on repeated experience. The more often you practice a certain state, whether that's stress, distraction, or calm, the more efficient your brain becomes at producing it. Here's what the research shows. Studies from Harvard and the University of Wisconsin have found that practices like mindfulness and deep relaxation can strengthen neural networks associated with attention, emotional regulation, and stress resilience. Over time, these repeated reps of calm reshape both structure and function in the brain. ASMR, though newer to the scientific literature, appears to offer a similar pathway.
Each session reinforces parasympathetic activation, lowers arousal, and conditions the nervous system to access safety more quickly the next time. Think of it like strength training. If you go to the gym once, you'll feel good for a while, but nothing changes long term. If you go consistently, your muscles adapt. Calm works the same way. A single ASMR video may soothe you tonight, but consistent practice, even just a few minutes a day, trains your nervous system to return to balance faster and more reliably. Here's a practical way to apply this. Build what I call a calm habit stack. Choose a daily moment, perhaps after lunch or just before bed, and pair an ASMR session with another grounding behavior, like journaling a few thoughts, practicing gratitude, or stretching. Over time, your brain begins to associate that moment of the day with downshifting into calm. With repetition, it becomes automatic. Tony Robbins often says, repetition is the mother of skill. Neuroplasticity proves him right. Every repetition of calm wires your brain toward greater resilience. And as Les Brown reminds us, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Building the habit is what matters. Greatness follows through consistency. So the takeaway is this: don't treat calm like a lucky accident. Treat it like a practice. Train it the way you would train focus, strength, or creativity. Because when calm becomes your baseline, stress stops controlling you, and you begin to control your life. Part 6. From Relief to Resilience. Lessons from Tony Robbins and Les Brown. Up to this point, we've explored how ASMR lowers stress, activates the parasympathetic system, and trains the brain for calm. But here's a deeper truth. Stress relief alone is not the end goal. The real goal is resilience, the ability to face life's inevitable challenges with clarity, energy, and strength. Think of stress like a storm. ASMR is the shelter that keeps you safe while the winds rage outside. But resilience is learning how to build a house strong enough to withstand those storms without collapsing. Relief matters, but resilience transforms you. Here's what the research shows. Studies in positive psychology and neuroscience demonstrate that resilience is built not by avoiding stress, but by recovering from it more effectively. Each time you downshift from a stress state into calm, whether through ASMR, breathwork, or mindfulness, you strengthen your recovery muscle. Over time, this faster recovery becomes automatic, protecting your brain, body, and emotions from the wear and tear of chronic stress. This is where the wisdom of leaders like Tony Robbins and Les Brown connects powerfully with the science. Robbins often teaches that it's not the events of our lives that shape us, but the meaning we give them. When you use tools like ASMR not just to escape stress, but to remind yourself that you have agency, that you can shift your state in minutes, you begin to rewrite the story of stress in your life. Les Brown says, when life knocks you down, try to land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. That's resilience. ASMR may start as a tool for relaxation, but in practice, it's a reminder that you can always get back up, that you're not at the mercy of your nervous system. You can lead it, guide it, and train it. Here's a practical application. Instead of only using ASMR when you feel overwhelmed, begin using it proactively. Start your day with a brief session to anchor yourself before the world's noise sets in. Use it before a big meeting or after an argument to reset quickly. The more you integrate it into your life, the more it shifts from being a stress relief trick into a resilience-building practice. And remember, resilience is not about never breaking. It's about bending without being destroyed. It's about knowing that no matter the pressure, you have tools to return to balance. That is where science and motivation meet, and where true personal power begins. And if you're finding value here, take a second to hit like. That small action helps this message reach more people who, just like you, are searching for ways to build not just relief, but resilience. Conclusion. We began this journey with a simple but surprising observation. Millions of Americans are turning to ASMR, those soft whispers, gentle taps, and rhythmic sounds, as a way to calm their minds and bodies. At first glance, it might look like a quirky internet trend. But as we've explored, the science tells a different story. ASMR is not just entertainment. It is a neurobiological tool that taps into the deepest wiring of the human nervous system. We looked at how the brain responds to ASMR, activating regions linked to calm and pleasure. We examined the way stress and cortisol overload the modern American nervous system, and how ASMR can serve as a micro-intervention to restore balance.
We saw that ASMR triggers parasympathetic activation, nudging the body into rest and digest mode. We explored its ability to mimic caregiving cues, creating a profound sense of emotional safety and connection. Then we discovered how repetition and neuroplasticity turn calm into a trainable skill. And finally, we learned that relief is only the beginning. True power comes when you transform stress relief into resilience, drawing on the wisdom of leaders like Tony Robbins and Les Brown. So here's the deeper message. Stress will never fully disappear from your life. The storms will always come, but you don't have to be at the mercy of those storms. You can build habits, rituals, and tools like ASMR that allow you not only to find shelter, but to grow stronger each time. Here's a challenge I'd like to leave you with. Tonight, before you go to bed, try a short ASMR session, just 5 minutes. Put on your headphones, close your eyes, and let yourself be immersed in sounds of calm. Pair it with slow breathing. Notice how your body shifts, how your mind softens, and then repeat that tomorrow and the next day. See what happens when calm stops being something you chase and starts becoming part of who you are. Tony Robbins reminds us that change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. If stress and anxiety have been running your life, maybe this is your invitation to try a different way. Les Brown would say, "Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars." Training calm and resilience is aiming for that moon, and even your first small steps will put you far beyond where you started. And if you found this message valuable, I invite you to join our community here. Like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more science-driven, empowering tools each week. Because calm isn't just the absence of stress, it's the foundation of clarity, energy, and greatness, and together, we're building it one step at a time,